Yeah. Hello, everybody. Let's get going. Trying different intros. That's what I'm doing. I'm not going to be very long because I do have to work today and I have to run out and catch the boss. So, welcome. Yesterday, my live got cut short and I had to take it down. So, here I am in my own space doing my live. Coming to you with the 411 and giving you a little bit of info on what's going on. So today is September 30th, last day of September. We are in the dark phases of the moon, meaning that the moon is 30 degrees away, so from the sun. And so that brings us into dark phases. Excuse my voice and everything else. I do have something, I don't know, sore throat, all of that kind of stuff, but doing the stuff I need to do to get it better. But plugging along here. That's what I'm doing. I'm plugging along. So what do we have here? We have the moon doing the sun and Mercury coming into a Gazini in the dark phases of the moon. So that means that you can't see Mercury. Mercury's behind the sun. They're sort of it happens once a month, and the moon go away. The sun and Mercury come together, and so they call it a Gazini. So that's happening today. So we are really, I mean, even though it's in the balsamic moon, we're in the dark phases, it is inspirational. There's a lot of inspiration. There's a lot to look at of how from the last new moon to this new moon, and what we need to do with reflecting, and even reflecting in the last 6 months, because it's the South Node. So looking at when it was in Aries, and we are releasing a lot. There's a lot of, frequencies that we're releasing, a lot of energies that we're releasing. But this is where our mind and doing the adjustments. So we're doing a lot of different adjustments when it comes to our own selves. And with this coming in, it's about to do with communications, or especially where Mercury is. So Mercury is the god of communications, on how we communicate. What we are doing to communicate, right? And this is where this inspiration comes in, and looking at the ways that we are communicating, the ways that we are coming together. And that is so important. Now, we're not going to be able to get all the communications that we want, but this is where we have to come into our heart and really come into our trusting of our connection with God and our connection with the divine. So today's communications, and even with Mars doing a beautiful trine over to Saturn, this is about moving, out of our shadow, coming in. We've been doing a lot of shadow work. The last new moon was very difficult. At least I found it was difficult. There was, it was this September 2nd. I'm trying to think of where I am right now. September 2nd, Pluto just went into Capricorn. Mercury was retrograde. So we had a lot of things changing and coming up for us, and feeling a little bit a lot out of sorts. So now, allowing ourselves to be completing stuff, looking at the things that we are completing. And this isn't about necessarily going out, because we want to get brand new. This isn't about getting brand new stuff or wanting to have brand new stuff. There is going to be a lot, on our minds and ways of adjusting and allowing for them to adjust. There's a lot of completions when it comes karmically, and a lot of karmic type of completions that are coming in. And especially with the moon making a sextile over to Mars, and a square over to Jupiter. Whew, got it. So don't be overthinking, this is, don't be over optimistic, and don't be over negative, right? So So again, this is about finding our balance, finding that harmony that we need to go and looking at it, and especially when it's with the South Node here, we're looking at the last 19 years, and it's not about living that 19 years ago because it's done, it's over, we're no longer there. We can have the memories, we can, embrace it, but this is about us setting desires, our future possibilities. This is about us stepping forward, right? And even though the last new moon was very gnarly, it was very difficult, but this is where we're trying to get an understanding where we are going. And now realizing, and we're flipping the understanding. The last 50 to 60 days have been a grind. We've been grinding it, man. We've been going, we've been doing, and sometimes the energies have been feeling very heavy and very daunting. So now we're trying to look at that, understand it, so that we are able to move forward in a positive, enlightened way. So this is where with the Mercury, with Mercury, the last new moon in Leo and the new moon in Virgo in coming together. So this is why it's so important to track the phases of the moon, to understand. Keeping a journal, keeping a moon journal is very important, because then you can track, oh, this is what's going on, and seeing what I've done from here to what I'm doing over here. All right. So here we are at this new moon, right? That's coming in, and it's in Libra. How we are releasing. Look at where you were a month ago. And how many people are saying how gnarly it was, how heavy it was. They're feeling overwhelmed and everything else. I know with this new moon, a lot of people are feeling very emotional and overwhelmed. We are also now tracking a asteroid in our orbit. Now, we don't know much about this asteroid. We don't know the orbit of this asteroid, so it's going to be very interesting to see how it plays in to our feelings, to our emotions, to the reactions with the world, right? So this tracking of this new asteroid, and you can't see it. It's farther than our moon. It's out further than our moon, but it's still in our orbit, right? It's still in our orbit. So it'll be interesting. They don't know a lot about it. I think it's an alien ship, but hey, what do I know? I don't have one of the telescopes to tell me what it is. But and then it's gone by the end of November. So that's going to be interesting. And playing into, could be playing into a lot more emotions being heightened, right? So welcome, everybody. So this is a lot of shifting that's happening right now, and we're coming to now. We are really getting a clear shot of direction of what we need to do. And I wouldn't go into, wanting stuff brand new. Like, I want this brand new. I need this all brand new. Sorry, the sun is now coming in, and I'm just trying to avoid it here. We don't want things like brand new and shiny. This is about, okay, I'm getting a clearer picture. I'm getting more of an understanding of a direction where I need to go, or what I need to really be working on more within my own self and my relationships, and looking at what isn't working. And you can easily let it go with this moon. This moon is allowing you to let things go, you know, and this is why it's so important for us to be I'm going to go back. I'm repeating myself. Tracking your moon phases, tracking the moon phases, because it gives you a correlation on how you're feeling, what's going on in your life, what is easily to be released, what maybe you are still working on, or what you are trying to manifest, right? So the planets right now, they're all basically in their fall position. I mean, Venus is in her fall, Mars is in his fall, Mercury, they're all in their fall position. So they're not in happy places, right? So, but that's okay. I mean, because sometimes when we get to a place where things aren't exactly what or where we want it to be and what we want to do, we could come to an acceptance and say, okay, what do I need to work on here? What do I need to improve here? How can I take the steps forward? and allowing myself to step forward. And this isn't throwing, you can erase some of the things off the board, but you're not going to throw the board away, right? You can readjust or write whatever you need to write on that board, and that's important. Um, I did put out yesterday that on Wednesday evening I wanted to have a gathering of looking at the next 3 months and looking at more of a world point. I've been trying to keep my dailies or my lives, whenever I do my lives, trying to keep it into more of an inspirational, more on a personal level so people can really step into their um, positive energies to be able to do um, good things in their life, to really take things and really adjust and mold what they need to mold within their life. And uh, the next few months, as it's going to unfold, is going to be a little bit heavier. Like, we are entering into heavier frequencies, especially when it comes to the rest of the world and the changes that are going to happen, and whatever the changes may be. And some of the changes go back to the era of King Henry VIII, which is in 1530. And the changes that were going on in there. And one of the points that was, when I was looking at it, and the points that I kind of got from that, is in 1530, King Henry VIII, he started to split off from the church, right? And create his own religion from Christianity. So no longer recognizing the Pope. This is where, and even when the Lutheran church started. So Lutheran started to come out, and he started to um, take out, he took out certain parts of the Bible, and he didn't acknowledge certain parts of the Bible. So he took them out. And so there was a rewriting of things that were happening at that time. There's the same thing that's happening now. There's a rewriting of how we do things, how we connect. Um, and we're not going back. King Henry didn't go back to the church. The church, after he died, even though Queen Mary came in, Bloody Mary, the saying, you go into a mirror and you say, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary, Bloody Mary. Uh, she's the one who went around and really tried to bring it back. Like, she really wanted to bring back, the Catholic religion back into England. That's why they call her Bloody Mary. She was, she wasn't very nice, and wanting to kill. And to say the least, she didn't last very long. And when we come to the King James Bible, the King James the First came in. We had Queen Elizabeth first, and Queen Elizabeth was the one who really enacted how the Protestant religion came into England. Like, she was really the enforcer. She really took to hand what her father started and said, no, this is what we are going to do, and bring forth the Protestant religion and really annex themselves, like, cut themselves off from Rome, and becoming their own identity as England, right? And the head of the church would be the sovereign. And then came King James, and King James wrote the King James Bible. And if you guys didn't know that, well, there you go. He wrote the Bible, and he wrote it with his own flair. He had quite a flair. Now, if you don't know much about King James, he was gay. Uh, he had quite a few male lovers and flaunted it, but he hated gays. Nobody else could be gay except him. He was the only one who was allowed to be gay. Him and his lovers were the only ones who were allowed to be gay. Nobody else, because it was bad. And so very controversial. But he brought out the King James Bible. And the point I'm trying to make here is that things are going to move forward, and they're going to change, and some of the changes are going to stay. And in order to make things different, it's, if you are trying to stick to something because that's the way it's always been, but you know the change is coming, the change is going to come. And that's within the world around us, where many people are trying to hang on to the sovereign. Well, the sovereign's changing, right? I mean, if you look at what's happening to England today, there isn't he's not even coming out to say anything, right? Plus he is dying of cancer. So there's that as well. So they're also preparing William to step into the whole thing, which I can see happening in the next little while. But besides that, it's a whole nother thing. But that change, that how we are moving, our government. I mean, just watching what our government's doing. I mean, the changes that are happening within our own government, right? I'm focusing on how to stay away from other people's. Candace, you know what? I'm going to take Candace. Candace, here you are. You are going to live in this cabin, beautiful cabin. We're going to give you a beautiful cabin. You're going to have your own well and everything else. It's going to be perfectly set up, and there's going to be huge no trespassing signs. No trespassing signs. So you're going to have no trespassing signs. Hello, Olivia, if you're still there. No trespassing signs. And that's going to be your place. You and your family and your dog, and that's it. There you go. That's for Candace. So the only way, and it's going to be barbed wire and electric fence all the way around. So if anybody tries, and there's going to be a sensor. So if anybody tries to cross the sensor, you will know. And if you want to blow them up, you can. It's up to you. No, Candace has the power. But I get it. I really get it. But that's the whole thing. A change is inevitable. And that's partially what I'm going to be talking about on Wednesday evening. And looking at a lot of the things that are coming in with within our own government, because a lot has to change, where just some of the things are. We're a part of NATO. We only give 1.2% or something like that, or 2 point something percent, where we're supposed to be giving a lot more to NATO and within our own armed forces. Our armed forces is fucking falling apart like crazy. It's just ridiculous what we send our people out with, which is not, God bless them all. But how things have to change there, where money has to come in instead of giving it away to everybody else, has to come in, where he has to start spending money on the forces, because he can say we're taking care of the Arctic, but we don't really have the capacity to. I'm sorry, Russia decides to come over. It's just like the little toddler over there. Yeah, I'm gonna defend my area, and in comes a great big grade 10ers coming in saying, I'm picking you up and putting you off to the side and saying, no, sorry. You can't play here anymore. I know while they are trying to plan, people need to take out of their own thoughts, please, and thank you. But yeah, we are going through a lot of changes in October. October is really going to be very fierce, and especially what's happening in the United States and with coming up with the election. So this is going to be a very fierce election. And the push for this election is going to be quite heavy in how it's going, and going forward with everything. And this is where, again, it's coming back to our light. It's coming back to our power, even though that the change is inevitable, but we can still have that influence of bringing forth the creative love, the creative prosperity, the creative, the good stuff, right? The good stuff, that we want to bring forward, so we can have the peace and the harmony. A lot of that, from 2025 to 2026 is the huge transformations that are going to come forward. If Trump wins, I'm hoping the wars get snuffed out. That's partially what we're going to be talking about. It's the thing is, even if Trump wins, the thing is, will he be will the inauguration happen? That's the other part too. And with the inauguration, I think it's going to get postponed. It won't happen in January. So if the inauguration gets postponed, that means whoever's in power right now in the United States will still be in power until they can find a replacement, and that might be JD Vance. Who knows? Like, things are still, we still have, especially in Trump's chart, there is a lot to do with a couple more, with assassination attempts and things coming in. Like, they want to snuff them out, baby. They want them out. And even with things with Iran, I mean, I think it was on X where the Ayatollah came out with a video of showing how he's wanting to assassinate Trump. It's just crazy, right? They're scared of Trump. I mean, the world is scared of Trump. A lot of the world leaders are scared. The only one who's not scared of Trump is Putin. I don't think Putin's not scared of anybody. Honestly, he's just like, this to him. The war is not, NATO's pushing the war onto him, and he is like, this is my country. This is my land. This belongs to Russia. I mean, the Ukraine has been part of Russia. I mean, the United States went in and overthrew the the president elect in 2014, right? They're friends, aren't they? No, he's a realist, definitely. I don't think they're friends, but I think there's a mutual respect, right? I don't think they're buddy buddy. I mean, Trump has done business deals in Russia, but then so have many others done business deals in Russia. I mean, you can still get Coca-Cola and Pepsi in Russia right now. You can still get, all, there's a McDonald's in Russia. Starbucks left, but another company took it over because they left everything. So, I mean, people are still going on and living their lives in Russia. It's not how Russia's not the 1950s, or where people were starving and standing in lines and wanting to buy jeans and things like that. So, but Trump is a forward guy. I mean, he's a Gemini. He's a forward guy. Kamala, when you go into her history, her father was a communist. He was a Marxist. He was. He taught it in school, and he believed it. He believed it, right? So, just some of her history and stuff going into her history. Her grandfather was white. Her grandmother, I think, was half white, but she died 2 years before she was born. Um, there's a lot of really interesting history going back to her own genealogy of who she is. And I'm just like, okay, you were Irish slave owners in Jamaica and in southern United States. Own it. I mean, I have relatives that have done a lot of shitty things. It's like, it's not me. I'm coming in to change things. I'm coming in to revamp things. But, you know, um, yeah. So very interesting, very interesting. And her mom didn't identify as being Indian. She identified as being Caucasian. So that's the other. I mean, but you got to look at the time, and a time of when that was happening, right? There's the caste system. And I mean, if I went to Trinidad with my kids, there's still a caste system where my kids would be just, people will just love them because they're a lighter skin and their hair and the whole bit. So being treated differently. And I know a lot of people don't like that. They don't, but you got to come to an understanding of that. You don't have to agree with it, and that's why, I mean, today's a day of reconciliation with our First Nations people, right? I've been wearing an orange shirt for the last few days. I wasn't wearing it again today because I wasn't going to be a stinky ball, but I do have some orange on because of where I work right now. Coming into a place of understanding, of letting go of the past so you can step forward to create a new future, and that's very, very important, to coming into stepping forward. And that's right in alignment with this moon, right in alignment with the changes that are coming in. But if you can't accept the past, that doesn't mean you live in the past. You don't live in the last 19 years. You remember it. There's a remembrance of it. You remember, there's a remembrance of as much as we can about King Henry VIII and Queen Elizabeth and King James and all of the ones who come before us, of what they have done and what they stood for, but we're not going back to live that. Some of the stuff we don't agree with, definitely. We don't agree with everything that, all of the ones who came in, Captain Cook and stuff. I mean, he was horrendous. He was a genius. I mean, he's the one who mapped Venus and really put it down. I mean, that's how he founded things. He followed Venus. You know, he said, this is what I need to follow. So he followed how Venus's orbit, and he's the one who charted it. Very interesting. I mean, it's very brilliant that way when it comes astrologically. But I mean, men back then were very pig-headed and really thought that they were above others, which is quite interesting. So we're coming into a time of dramatic change, right? Dramatic change. And how we are wanting to step forward with this dramatic change, and how the planets, even Vedic astronomy lines up with all of this as well, on how disruption and change is going to be happening for us. But it has to in order to bring the truth out. Anyways, I'll be talking about more of this. Anyway, and plus I got to go and make my lunch, and I got to leave in about 25 minutes. To catch my bus to be at work on time. So if you want to join me, I put a charge up for $25. It would be on Google Meet, so we'll be able to see each other, have a conversation with one another, instead of just me talking and then I just being able to come into a group fireside connection. So if you're interested, let me know, and I'll put some more postings out on that. People's new moon readings will be coming out on Wednesday, because I don't have time to do them today and tomorrow because I work. So they'll be coming out on Wednesday. So your new moon readings will be coming out on Wednesday. Let's pull some cards. Yeah, so communication. So watching how you're communicating. So it's really going by your intuition, going by your gut. Don't get lost, in thought, oh, this is the way it needs to be. This is what I need to do. I mean, right now it's an eclipse, right? So things are clipped. You're not going to get the full communication because Mercury's there and he's eclipsed it. So a lot of things are going to be muffled. So this is where you really have to tune in to oneself and tune into your own self. Yeah. So not to go out and just sort of like, I'm going out to do this. This is my new thing. No, just to take some time and really to reconcile, to really look at, not push things out, not push things to where I want, this is what I want. Getting your mindset on something that this is where you're going to be heading because this is the new passion. It'll just get you into trouble. Yeah, it'll get you into trouble where you're going to have put too much on your plate. And you don't want to be putting any more on your plate than what you guys already have. So take your time today. Go and just listen to your intuition. Don't overreact. Don't try and make things brand new and shiny and everything else. Sometimes a little bit of dullness or a little bit of things not being so shiny is kind of cool, right? That antiquing. Take a little bit of the antiquing and it's going to be okay. It's going to be fine. But just don't try and do like everything, because honestly, it's just going to bite you in the ass, especially where all the planets are right now. Yeah, I mean, emotionally, we're in a little bit better place, but we're still going to be feeling a lot of the emotions as well, because there's still some things that are hidden that are going to take us by surprise. And we are also getting clarity on the last 6 months, on what's been going on in our own personal lives the last 6 months. So there's clarity that's coming in there. And sometimes when that comes in, we have to sort of sit with it and moodle over it and like, "Ooh, okay, I kinda knew that. Oh, yeah, I really felt that. Alright, okay, is this what I really wanna go forward with, or am I finally done? Or, yeah, I really have to do this," right? Moved into a 80s bungalow this past weekend, then I watched Stranger Things and thought, "This is it. I've made it." Well, congratulations on your move to your bungalow, and, I'm hoping that you can put your barbed wire and your electric fence around so nobody can be intruders onto your, property. That would be very 80s. Don't go on my grass. Keep off the grass. No animals allowed on my grass. Anyways, you all have a wonderful, wonderful day. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you be and all you do. Have a blessed one, everybody. We will talk to you hopefully tomorrow and on Wednesday. Bye bye, everyone. Have a blessed one. Thank you. I saw an Iron Gate on Facebook. Oh, make a bid on